I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain.
That's the tough one, and I'm glad you didn't begin with this. Like, that's what other journalists I'm speaking to is like, what's the story about? And they're expecting a
Yeah, I just went straight.
Yeah, like 15-second story, something like man loses his wife on a mountain, finds out who the killer was, then goes after him. But it's like, this is not a normal story. So it's a vignette story. And that means like multiple stories instead of one. But then in the end, they intersect and it becomes part of a greater story. And the weird thing about this, ever since I was a teenager, I remember I've been studying, I've seen these style of films when they only make them about once every 5 years, like in Hollywood. And there's only been about 20-25. And I think they're saying Robert Altman started it with Shortcuts. Have you seen that?
Okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Then there's movies like Babel and Crash and that. So essentially, it's a bunch of characters, but around the world, and they're all affected by these lockdowns, which is what I was going through at the time. But it's really the only way I can describe it is really it's relationships a breakdown point during this period. So one story, for example, that I've been thinking about for years is what would happen if you had a child and you had to say goodbye to them and you weren't in the same location, but you also had to do the things that you wanted to say to them maybe through the rest of as they grew up more into adulthood, you've got to say to them all now. And that's one of the plots, for example. So they're all different plots, whether it's romance, whether it's friendship or things like that, they're all at breakdown point. And I mean, is that what you got out of that?
Yeah, I mean, I yeah, absolutely. I thought it was conflict and resolution were really the things at the heart of the characters I felt.